Throughout my journey of personal transformation, I unearthed a seemingly simple, yet profoundly significant truth. The individuals I chose to surround myself with significantly influenced every outcome I achieved. I share this insight not to boast about my experiences, but rather to help you navigate your own path more wisely and to avoid the mistakes I once made. Sometimes, what stands in the way of your growth isn't a lack of talent, opportunities, or time. Rather, it's the presence of the wrong people too close to you. If you don't learn to discern and curate your circle, you risk losing sight of the future you are meant to embrace. I once believed that having a larger network, more acquaintances and friendships, was a recipe for success, thinking more relationships would alleviate loneliness and ease the path to achievement. However, I soon learned a harsh lesson. Not everyone who smiles at you has your best interests at heart. Not every person who walks alongside you genuinely supports your journey. The danger lies in this: most people don't crush your dreams through outright negativity. They do it subtly, with their words. They never say you can't achieve your goals outright. Instead, they sow seeds of doubt, fear, and hesitation, causing you to question your worthiness and abilities. Gradually, your vision blurs and you lose clarity on your aspirations. You must grasp this essential truth. You do not need anyone's permission to pursue your passions or embark on your transformation, nor do you require validation to start your journey. What you truly need is clarity from within, and it is crucial to protect that clarity at all costs. One of the first steps to maintaining that clarity is to choose wisely whom you allow into your life. I am not suggesting that you isolate yourself or sever ties with everyone. Rather, I encourage you to have the courage to distance yourself from relationships that stifle your growth. Those who make you feel small for dreaming big. Those who induce guilt for aspiring to change your life. Or those who dismiss your ambitions as unrealistic or delusional. I used to keep such people in my life, mistakenly believing they were being truthful or protective. But the harsh reality is that safety does not lead to breakthroughs. Those well-meaning voices that initially seemed supportive only contributed to my self-doubt. I share my experience so that you can understand how some relationships can silently drain your energy. Toxicity doesn't always manifest through cruelty. Sometimes it quietly seeps in, causing hesitation and stagnation until you find yourself shrinking your goals, slowing your pace, and limiting your potential. One day, I paused to reflect on a crucial question that I implore you to contemplate as well. Am I clinging to the wrong people out of fear of loneliness? If you're engaging in relationships out of politeness, obligation, or nostalgia, I encourage you to examine those connections critically. No one can maintain their inner strength while sacrificing it to others. You must take an active role in determining who has access to your mind, your time, and your dreams. That is not only your right, it is your responsibility. When I began to filter my inner circle, I approached the process not with anger or resentment, but with respect for myself and my journey. I stepped back from relationships that drained my energy and disengaged from conversations that revolved solely around complaints. I stopped trying to persuade those who had no intention of understanding my perspective. The miracle of this effort unfolded as I cleared the space around me, making room for new relationships. People who recognized my potential even when I struggled to see it within myself. Their encouragement fueled my determination. They lifted me up rather than dragging me down. I realized that I didn't require an extensive network of supporters, just a few key individuals who believed in me at pivotal moments. You deserve the same. You will encounter individuals who misunderstand the path you've chosen, who may claim you're changing too rapidly or becoming too complex. Remember that you do not owe them an explanation. Your only obligation is to yourself, to live a life that reflects your potential and aspirations. Stand resolute and step away from environments that dim your light. Surround yourself with those who invigorate you, fill you with energy, and elevate your spirit. Don't wait until betrayal or conflict demonstrates that a relationship is toxic. Toxicity can often manifest not through intensity, but through consistency, a gradual erosion. Each time you're belittled, or made to doubt yourself, it adds up like burdens on your shoulders, dragging you down slowly but surely. Understand this. You are entitled to a circle that promotes your growth, rather than requiring constant defense against negativity. You need allies who propel you forward, not individuals who tether you to inaction. And if you have yet to find such supporters, do not lose hope. Your initial step does not involve seeking out new connections. It requires clearing away those who no longer fit. By removing outdated energies from your life, you naturally open yourself up to new, enriching connections. Always remember, your vision is one of your most treasured assets. Do not permit it to be obscured by the opinions and judgments of others. They need not understand your journey, nor do they need to support your dreams. They simply need to step aside if they cannot walk alongside you, and you must be brave enough to enforce that boundary. Protecting your dreams is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of responsibility. To soar high, one must travel light, and there is no burden heavier than the wrong companionship. You are not being selfish by seeking peace and clarity. You are evolving. Stand tall, reevaluate your circle, and embark on rewriting your future with newfound clarity and strength. Let me share a transformative truth from my own life. A turning point that didn't derive from a dramatic event, but rather a clear, committed decision. I believe that understanding this could alter your life as it did mine. Have you ever found yourself stuck in limbo, starting something only to stop halfway? Maybe you've tried pursuing a new direction while too frequently glancing back, wanting to embrace change but not fully letting go of the past. I understand this feeling all too well. That sense of floating between choices, confused about the future, hesitant to proceed yet reluctant to go back, is familiar. But here lies the crucial realization. It's not about weakness or lack of capability. It's that you haven't truly made up your mind. You haven't firmly told yourself, "This is my decision, and I will see it through." I once believed I needed more time, more information, or more support. However, I discovered that certainty doesn't precede the decision. It follows it. True clarity comes after you choose a path and step forward, despite your fears. Each action, no matter how small, builds momentum and solidity. Trusting in yourself becomes key. You do not need countless options or perfect plans. You need one clear decision sealed with a compelling reason to get back up after every setback. A meaningful goal that anchors you during uncertain times. You have aspirations, and I know you envision the person you want to become, yet you may grapple with procrastination, waiting for the perfect moment to act. Let me be frank, such a moment never arrives. Fear, uncertainty, and naysayers will always exist. Therefore, it is imperative to be the one who believes in yourself first and foremost. Believe in your decision and in the individual you aspire to become, and wholeheartedly commit to that belief through your actions. When you haven't genuinely decided, you remain easily swayed, drifting from one idea to another. You might try an endeavor for a few days, only to become distracted or give up. You waste energy keeping every door ajar, rather than fully committing to one path and developing a strong foundation. When I chose to commit to a direction, everything shifted. Not because the world adjusted, but because I did. I learned to tune out the cacophony of others' opinions and cultivate confidence in my own choices. Even when the path is arduous and no one appears to understand, I learned to own my journey. I stopped seeking validation and focused solely on my chosen direction, taking responsibility for my choices. I put in the effort day after day, advocating for my vision. Reflect on this. If your life hasn't shifted in a while, perhaps it's not because you are incapable, but rather because you haven't made a firm choice. You haven't fully engaged or closed off the safety nets that hold you back, and you can't establish a solid foundation while straddling two boats. True strength doesn't manifest through juggling multiple tasks simultaneously. It emerges from pinpointing one significant goal and pursuing it with unwavering clarity. No half measures and no retreat. I'm not sharing this because I seek to lecture you. I speak from experience, having lived through indecision and fear of being wrong. Yet, I have also discovered the power that comes from making a firm decision, not out of coercion or external praise, but from a deep internal understanding of what needs to be done. When you commit to clarity, the world responds in ways you may not expect. Opportunities arise, supportive individuals gravitate toward you, progress accelerates, and above all, you start to respect yourself more as you keep promises made to yourself. Commitment is not an emotional state. It is an active choice, sustained even when feelings ebb and flow. The days you feel exhausted, disinterested, or eager to quit are the days that truly inform your character. If you allow yourself to be swayed every time challenges arise, you will remain adrift. However, if you persist, you will navigate through adversity, not because circumstances will necessarily become favorable, but because you will grow stronger and more resilient. I encourage you to revisit decisions you have delayed, projects you haven't launched, and changes you've postponed. Ask yourself, what am I waiting for? Clarity will not arrive unsolicited. Approval from others isn't required, and the elusive feeling of readiness will always remain out of reach. You don't need more. You only need to begin and make adjustments as necessary, not to linger in perpetual planning. I'm not advocating for haste, but I urge against procrastination. Don't let your life stagnate in limbo. If something feels correct, embrace it. Once you've made that choice, hold steadfast. Do not waver in the face of criticism. Shun retreat when confronted by obstacles, and do not shift directions simply because of passing emotions. Remain committed and allow time to affirm your choices while empowering your growth. You deserve to lead a purposeful, directed life filled with inner strength. This doesn't happen by chance. It begins with a decisive choice. Today can be the day you make that choice. Not because of external pressure, but because deep down you feel that it's time. If you are still hesitating, hold this thought. Life changes only when you choose a direction and muster the courage to pursue it. The beautiful truth is, You can decide right now, in this very moment. When you commit to a choice that resonates deeply, nothing can impede your evolution. You know what frequently holds most individuals back from reaching their fullest potential. It isn't a lack of intelligence or opportunity, it's fear. I speak from personal experience, reflecting on days when fear ruled my decisions, when I stayed frozen instead of taking bold steps, when procrastination overshadowed action. Through those experiences, I realized a vital truth. If you want to conquer fear, don't wait for it to dissipate. You must take action even amidst your anxiety. Don't be misled into believing that successful individuals are devoid of fear. They experience it too, often more intensely than you might think. The key difference is that they refuse to let fear dictate their lives. They don't hold out for the moment they feel ready, nor do they wait for their anxiety to subside or their hands to stop trembling. Instead, they move forward, albeit with shaky steps. They voice their beliefs even when their voices quaver, and they take necessary actions even while feeling apprehensive. This is what fosters growth, strength, and confidence. You cannot wait for your fears to vanish before taking the first step, because that moment will perpetually elude you. Accept this truth. Every day you shy away from fear, you empower it further. Each time you shy away from an opportunity due to lingering self-doubt, you teach your mind that retreating is the safest choice. However, safety isn't always aligned with what's right. Sometimes, the greatest danger lies in stagnation. I once felt confined in my invisible prison of self-doubt and a preoccupation with external opinions, terrified of failure. Yet, I ultimately realized that continuing to live within those limits due to fear of pain was unsustainable. Pain is an integral part of growth. Embarrassment, rejection, and failures are all lessons waiting to be embraced if you choose to face them. Begin with incremental steps. Confronting fear doesn't necessitate displaying reckless bravery. Sometimes, it simply involves expressing your thoughts in a meeting, making a difficult phone call to apologize, writing the first line of a book you've dreamed about penning, or enrolling in a course you've been delaying. Each small, consistent action transforms you into someone who chooses to live by values and ideas, rather than succumbing to fear. Fear is not your adversary, it is a protective instinct. Letting it govern your life, however, leads to mere existence rather than fulfillment. Fear serves as a signal, indicating the limits you have yet to breach. That very edge often represents the gateway to discovering a stronger, clearer, and freer version of yourself. When you act, despite your fear, you break the cycle. You redefine your identity. You begin to adopt the belief that, I am someone who can. With time, fear loses its grip on your life and becomes a quiet companion rather than a controlling force. I vividly recall my initial experience stepping onto a stage, heart racing, legs stiff, mind racing with all that could possibly go awry. But I proceeded anyway, trembling as I spoke, yet I didn't cease my efforts. After a few moments, I recognized that fear wasn't as daunting as I had imagined, not because it vanished, but because I had courageously walked through its initial layers. From that point forward, I understood that when you take action, fear loses its ability to dominate your life. Its power is rooted in your stillness. My dear friend, do not allow untried experiences to inhibit your progress. Every confident individual was once an anxious beginner. Every skilled individual once faced hurdles. Embrace the journey of self-discovery with courage and resolve, for therein lies the path to a fulfilling and powerful life. You are capable of greatness. Let your actions reflect that truth. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with more motivational content. Like, share, and comment to support our work and spread the message.